In this video, I am going to show you how to quickly create an Automata or pencil box side panel with the laser cutter. So new part, sketch, XY plane. I'm going to pretend this is just a simple 5x5. So 5, tab, 5, enter, zoom out. All right, I have my 5x5 box. Now we'll act like this is the top of a pencil box, so I don't want anything up here. The easiest way to do this is I'm just going to grab another rectangle, and wherever I want my tabs, I'm just going to make a 1 inch, 0.125 thick, tab 1.0 long. I just created a slot or a tab there, it just depends, alright? So I'm going to do the same thing here. It's going to give me my cheater line, so it's much easier. All I have to do is type in or hit tab and then 1.0, enter. Alright, I'm going to do that over here. Again, I can use my cheater lines that it gives me and line that up without having to add additional dimensions. 1.0, I'm sorry, 0.125 thick, tab 1.0, enter. Alright, and then I'll do the same thing. I can line that up, I can line that up, and that up, and click that in, and I don't even have to do a dimension on that one. Alright, once I escape out of that, actually I'm going to do one more on the bottom rectangle. Most people only put one tab on the bottom. So 1.0, tab, 0.125, enter. Alright. And the bottom is usually going to be a slot, right? So now that I've made those boxes, it doesn't matter if they're tabs or slots at this point. I can create an internal rectangle down here where I have two intersecting. See my cheater lines? Click that. Line that up over here. And click that in place. Hit escape. Okay. So at this point I can come in with my trim tool and I can cut out the parts I don't want. Let's say this is a tab. I cut out this inside line. Alright, it gives me an alarm. It doesn't like it. The reason it's giving me an alarm is I'm going to escape out of that tool is because of this dimension. So I'm going to delete that dimension. I'm going to delete this dimension. And now if I go back to my trim tool, I can trim that out. Alright, so now I have a tab. Alright, so if I wanted a slot here instead of a tab, I would simply go to the middle here, leave it in place. When you get to your bottoms, you can trim the outside corners then. You see what it did with that dimension, so I'll undo that. Alright, so I'm going to want to set a dimension, zoom in, and get the rod, not the, and then I'm going to run a dimension from there to there to lock that in place. You have to set that to what you actually want. So now I'm going to cut this 5 out, delete that 5 dimension, and now I can trim this corner and this corner, which is already gone. I can trim this out. Okay, again, it's not happy with me. So you get to the point where you have everything in place dimensionally, but it's not letting you trim things. You need to go through and delete some of your dimensions so it allows you to trim out. So you can see now, again, same thing is going to go on there. But you can go through and determine, are you keeping the outside corner because it's a side, or are you cutting it off because it's a bottom? Alright, and then you can go through and adjust your positions if you need to. I want this to go from here to here. Right, and I want that to be, some people get confused on how to center their items. If this is this is 5 inches and I have a 1-inch tab that leaves me 4, so it needs to be 2 on each side, right? So 2.0, enter, and I can push that little tab over to center. Alright, so just use common sense. If it starts jerking your panels around when you're trimming, cut your dimensions out. But you should be able to get to the point. Technically, you could not cut any of that out, because if I finish this sketch, zoom out, and I go to extrude, now I can pick the whole panel, and then I can go in and I can select certain things at a time, right? Let's say I wanted these to be slots. I would just pop all of this out. Okay. You can see here I have a problem. I would have to go back and fix that. But don't overthink it. You want to make sure your widths are correct and your spacing is correct panel to panel. Make sure your thickness of your material is to your actual material, and then create your panel, and then you can move on to assembly, which is in another video once you have all your panels made. Again, this one's not correct. It's just an example to show you how to quickly build without losing your mind.